Alright gamers, buckle up, because I have a story to share. Alright, it's technically multiple short stories, but that's not the point. The point is that they're true. So you know the jokes and memes about the neighbor's kid? Right, well there wouldn't be so many if they weren't based on truth. Now, we're gonna call this neighbor's kid Jimmy for the sake of privacy reasons. I'm gonna let you know, for context and how bizarre these things are, Jimmy is much younger than me. Like, I first met him, I was a freshman in high school, and he was in middle school, I think like 2 grades below me or something, so that makes these things a little strange. You know, of course I met the neighbor's kid, Jimmy, the stereotypical way that you'd meet a neighbor's kid. And it's because your mom's introducing you to the neighbor's kids, like, here, play with them, have fun, make a new friend. And, yeah, so, we first did that. I don't like talking to people. So, I was like, here, play on my PlayStation VR, which I just had recently. And he did that while I just stood there awkwardly waiting for him to leave, and then eventually he left. Now, the thing about Jimmy is, like, from just a quick glance, he's already, like, a completely different person than me, almost polar opposites. He's all, you know, extroverted and talking to people he's never met before, and he's all into sports and stuff, and meanwhile, I hate talking to people, and I barely go outside, and I'm a gamer, and he was not a gamer. He didn't know what he was doing with the VR. The first day I met Jimmy, he was, he started talking about how he knew the people who lived into the house that we had just moved into that summer, and he was like, oh yeah, I was great friends with them, we'd ride around on dirt bikes in the backyard, all that, yada yada. The thing is, that, like, put me off a little, was he was friends with the kids who lived here. The family that lived in this house, they weren't managing the house very well. Like, when we first moved in, there's a bunch of, like, off-putting stuff that I can't even remember. But the biggest one is this house runs on well water, not city water, and there's a lot of iron in the water, so naturally you gotta have filters to drink from the tap water. This family did not use filters. They didn't drink the water, they just bought bottled water. And, but they still use the water for, like, the sink and the showers and stuff. And, you know how iron rusts? Well, there's basically every toilet bowl and bathtub and sink in this house are stained rust red due to that. So Jimmy was friends with the people living like that, who, like, apparently never questioned it or fixed the problem. Next tiny story, so Jimmy and I'd take the same bus to school because the high school and the middle school are, like, part of the same thing and they're not that far from each other. And, you know, since we're neighbors, we have the exact same bus stop. One day, on the way home from school, Jimmy pulled out an empty can of Mike's Hard Lemonade, which, if you don't know, Mike's Hard Lemonade is an alcoholic beverage. I remember Jimmy's in middle school, so, you know, that's something. And then him and one of his friends started, like, throwing the bottle back at each other, and eventually it just, like, rolled into the back of the bus, never to be seen again. Now, the longer time went on, the less my mother and parents would expect me to interact with them because I tell them about the weirdness that is Jimmy, and eventually they're just, like, all together stopped, so I didn't have to, like, full on, here, go out and play with the neighbor's kid anymore, so that's cool. But the strange thing is, you know, quarantine hit, and then when it was over, you'd think, like, Jimmy's family didn't move. Like, I'd still see him, like, running, like, doing stuff outside. But I never saw Jimmy again when quarantine was over. Like, he just mysteriously disappeared for all I knew. Like, I heard rumors about, like, something about a car and, jail. But, Yeah, before making this video, I asked my dad for like a summary of why Jimmy suddenly disappeared. It turns out, Jimmy is in juvie, or juvenile detention if you will, for, stealing his parents' car twice, and, crashing it one of those times. So, and he's still in juvie, apparently, so, yeah, that's what. Don't be a Jimmy. Don't steal a parent's car. Especially don't crash it, because that makes it double worse. I'm not condoning the first thing, but like the second thing is icing on the bad idea cake. So yeah. Don't be a Jimmy. Be a broken mini fridge. Stay inside playing games all day. Well, if you're still watching to the end, that means you loved my stories. If you've considered hitting the like button, that'd be greatly appreciated, because it tells YouTube to put my video out to more people, and that'd be greatly appreciated. So thank you for watching. Farewell.